this kid with a radio on his back, and I said, ha, there's my savior. I started to walk down towards him, probably maybe 25 or 30 yards. And he was coming up at me. We were probably separated by maybe 40 yards of land. And there was an overhead burst took place. It hit him, and it cut his arm off, and it destroyed the damn radio. And I went down to him, and a medic was with me, and we tried to pull him up, but his arm had been severed completely, and the kid died. And it's still, right now, I see this kid. This was the first one I'd ever seen ever getting killed. I don't know who he was from. I never knew what his name was or anything. But the medic and myself pulled him up. As we started to pull him up, another shell burst, and I caught mine in my left leg. And the medic also got hit in his arm, but we still managed to pull him up to the berm, and we hid under the berm, and that's where I spent the night.
This was no ordinary battle. It was the largest amphibious assault in the history of warfare. It was also World War II's greatest gamble. Military members would know it as Operation Overlord. Historians and citizens would know it simply as D-Day. Planning Operation Overlord was one of the most complex military efforts ever undertaken. Taking place at the Tehran Conference in November of 1943, Roosevelt, Churchill, and Stalin all agreed to launch the massive cross-channel assault in 1944. At this joint venture, Dwight D. Eisenhower was given the daunting task of leading the Allied invasion of Europe. He was asked to do what no general had ever done in the history of warfare: plan the largest amphibious invasion the world had ever seen. He faced four huge challenges. His first task was uniting all Allied nations into one single force. His second, breaking through the brutal enemy fortifications while also launching wave after wave of troops from vulnerable landing crafts. The third, coordinate thousands of ships, planes, soldiers to move as one unit across the deadly English Channel. The first hurdle was conquered by making the Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force, and was fully established with clear lines of authority and cooperation among the Allies by early 1944. The next challenge was Hitler's deadly Atlantic Wall, miles of bunkers, mines, and obstacles built to stop inland invasion. At the heart of the assault, the Higgins boat, invented by Andrew Higgins of New Orleans. This flat-bottom craft revolutionized the ability of amphibious warfare, allowing troops to man the beaches undaunted and unabated. To weaken defenses behind enemy lines, a plan was developed to use paratroopers led by American Brigadier General Maxwell Taylor and British Major General Richard Gale. Their mission was simple: capture the bridges and block German reinforcements. Facing the impossible task at hand, the Allies prepared with relentless focus, ambition, but most of all, patience. For months, troops trained on mock beaches in England, learning to fight through mines, barbed wire, and heavy enemy fire they would face on Normandy. Massive rehearsals like Operation Tiger revealed deadly flaws. Every soldier, sailor, and airman, regardless of rank, was drilled relentlessly, honing coordination and timing to near perfection. To understand what it was like to be a paratrooper or a beach-held soldier on D-Day, I've given you pop culture references for vivid portrayals of gritty, intense, and unforgettable moments that those that served may have faced.
All right, lads, listen up. We've got until dawn to achieve our objective. And it seems like the Krauts already know we're coming. Now we've got one chance to demolish the coastal artillery. But if we don't, the invasion tomorrow will fail. Now I trained you all for this. Let's not let the Navy show us up. So take the casemates, blast the artillery, and fire your flares to let the Navy know the job's done. All right, this is it. You know the drill. Stand up! Hook in! Stand by! See you on the ground!
The Omaha beach landing scene in Saving Private Ryan was so accurate that the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs had to set up a toll-free hotline within the first 3 days due to the fact that those veterans were suffering from PTSD from the film. This, combined with the Vanguard depiction of a paratrooper in Call of Duty, makes for a hauntingly vague portrayal of what it was like to serve during those times. But don't just take it from the depictions, take it from the survivors of the wars themselves.
Craziest thing is, I'm sitting here talking to you about my experience. I am the only one left out of all those guys I was with. They've all gone on. This can't last forever. In less than 2 months, I'm going to be 101. I don't have an acre of pain in my body.
Just glanced, and there was a German laying in a slit trench there. And he had his rifle alongside him, but he was looking the other way. When I saw him, he saw me. My gun jammed. So, of course, we always carried a knife in our boots, so I took the knife and cut his string. And that's how close it was.
Dead people, dead bodies and mutilated bodies and things didn't bother me, but I felt sorry for the youngsters. There was kids there, 17 years of age, who'd joined up at 16 and said they were 18. And the poor.
But during invasions, I was on the Higgins boat going into the beach. Two stragglers. They didn't want to die, so they thought by staying with me, they'd be safe. Unfortunately, by staying with me, they were drawing fire from the hills. The first guy got hit, ripped his stomach open. Fortunately, he lived. This guy lived. And the other guy that was 2 feet away from me, he was a redheaded kid. The machine gun took his helmet off and part of his brain, a part of it. And he was crying, help me, help me, help me. I had no morphine. I couldn't help him. So he fell at my feet. And he was crying, help me, help me, help me. I had nothing in my kit to help him. So the only thing I had was the Lord's Prayer. And I started praying, Our Father who art in heaven. I never finished it. And he slumped down. Yeah, I knew he was going to die. And I reached down and I squeezed his hand. I want him to know that he wasn't alone. And he died. He died.
We got flak from there, but it didn't reach us. When we hit the coast, it looked like the 4th of July. Stuff was coming through the aircraft. You could hear it. The green light went on. We stood in the door. I jumped. Where I jumped, I had not the foggiest idea. I landed in a bunch of cows, because I found out half hour later that I'd landed at the Carnation Milk Plant in Carentan. That was the headquarters of the Hermann Göring Corps of Armor, and I had jumped right in the middle of it.
Everybody happy, cried the sergeant looking up. Our heroes bravely answered yes, and then they stood him up. He jumped right out into the blast, a static line on hook. He ain't gonna jump no more. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. He ain't gonna jump no more. Now there was blood upon the risers, there were brains upon the chute, intestines were hanging from his paratrooper boots. They picked him up still in the chute and poured him from his boots. He ain't gonna jump no more. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. He ain't gonna jump no more. Now the letter they sent home went to his wife and